Chosen one, you have been scrolling numbly for the last 20 minutes, staring at a screen, trying to quiet the exhaustion in your head. But right now, I need you to notice how the atmosphere in your room just suddenly shifted. That sudden, heavy stillness in the center of your chest, that is not anxiety. That is your spirit recognizing a divine interception. The enemy tried to glitch your focus 3 times today, sending waves of tiredness to make you skip this, because he knows the spiritual coordinates of this exact transmission. This message is appearing to you right now, and it is programmed to never cross your timeline again, because the waiting season you think you are trapped in actually expired at midnight. Do not swipe away. I need you to stay with me until the very end of this transmission, because by the time I finish speaking, you will understand exactly why your physical body feels like it is shutting down just as your biggest breakthrough is arriving. I am going to reveal the exact biological trap keeping you stuck, and I will hand you the precise frequency key to unlock the door that has been hidden from you. If you leave now, you will carry this heavy confusion into a season meant for your victory. Do not move, do not type a word, and do not force a physical reaction. The only thing required from you in this exact moment is mental defiance. In the quietness of your own mind, silently drop the heavy armor you have been using to survive, and anchor your spirit right here, because I am about to show you the exact door that opened behind you while you were busy mourning the one that closed. For months, maybe even years, you have been walking through a season that made absolutely no logical sense. You watched doors slam shut that you were certain God had opened. You watched relationships dissolve without a single explanation. You found yourself sitting in your car in the driveway for 10 minutes before walking into your own house, just trying to gather enough energy to put your mask back on and pretend everything was fine. You looked at your phone contacts, scrolling through hundreds of names, realizing that in your darkest hour, there was not a single person you could call who could actually carry the weight of what you were going through. You think you know why this happened. You think you just passed the ultimate test of faithfulness. You believe God was simply testing to see if you would still pray when your bank account was empty, if you would still worship when your heart was shattered, if you would still show up when you saw no results. And yes, you did that. You stayed faithful. You passed that test. But I am here to tell you a truth that will shift your entire perspective. That faithfulness test was just the cover story. That is what it looked like on the surface. While you were focused on staying faithful, the universe was actually running a much deeper, much more dangerous examination. A test that most chosen ones completely fail. You were being put through the test of invisibility. God was not just asking if you would stay faithful. He was asking if you would stay faithful when absolutely everyone else forgot that you existed, when the people who promised to help you suddenly turned their backs, when you did all the heavy lifting, but someone else got the applause. Look at the ancient blueprints. Look at Joseph, left to rot in a dark, cold Egyptian prison for years after doing the right thing, forgotten by the very cupbearer he helped. Look at David, anointed to be the king of a nation, but forced to live like a hunted fugitive in damp caves for a decade. Look at Moses, carrying the mandate to free an entire civilization, but hidden away in a silent desert talking to sheep for 40 years. There is a divine equation at work here. The wilderness pattern is always exactly the same. The magnitude of your isolation is always directly proportional to the massive scale of your upcoming promotion. God had to make you invisible to the world so he could work on you without their contamination. And that brings us to the secret door that just opened behind you. That door is your official promotion. You have been transitioned from the one who was forgotten in the shadows to the one who now holds the ultimate authority. But here is the strange paradox. Here is the terrifying reality you have not dared to speak out loud to anyone. If you have been promoted, if the test is finally over, why do you feel this creeping dread in your stomach? Why, when you think about stepping into this new blessing, do you suddenly feel terrified? Why do you want to run away and hide instead of celebrating? Let us expose the shadow right now. You are terrified of the crown. In the deep, unfiltered corners of your mind, there is a voice whispering poisonous questions. It asks, what if I get this massive blessing and I completely ruin it? What if I am not actually strong enough for this responsibility? What if this level of success changes me so much that I lose the pure heart I fought so hard to protect? What if I step onto this stage and fail spectacularly in front of everyone who doubted me? You feel guilty for having these thoughts. You think they mean your faith is weak. But I need you to listen to me very carefully. That fear is not a lack of faith. That fear is the absolute proof of your readiness. The people who crash and burn under the weight of a blessing are the ones who grab it with arrogance, having zero fear of its power. Fools rush toward influence, but you are trembling because you actually understand the massive weight of what God is handing you. You recognize the gravity of the assignment. But if your spirit is finally ready, and your soul understands the assignment, why is your physical body reacting as if you are under a severe physical threat? Why does your chest tighten, your digestion stop, and your sleep completely vanish when you try to step into this new timeline? It is because you are experiencing a severe frequency mismatch. Your spirit is currently vibrating at the high frequency of divine elevation, but your biological nervous system is completely trapped. Because of the prolonged trauma, the betrayals, and the silent suffering of your wilderness season, your brain has become locked in the beta frequency. Beta is the brainwave of survival. It is the frequency of fighting, fleeing, and constantly scanning the horizon for the next disaster. You have been living in survival mode for so long that your biology thinks peace is a threat. You cannot download a massive heavenly update onto a biological hard drive that is flashing a survival error code. In the ancient Hebrew texts, the word for God's glory is kavod, and the literal translation of kavod is not light and fluffy clouds. Kavod means heavy. It means a weighty, crushing density of presence. When the kavod of God rested on a temple, the priests could not even stand up. This is exactly why you are terrified, and this is exactly why your body is breaking down. Your nervous system is desperately trying to process the heavy, massive kavod of God's blessing while it is still stuck in a defensive, survival beta frequency. The hardware of your brain is clashing with the software of your spirit. You cannot solve a deep spiritual frequency problem with cheap biological advice. You cannot just think positive thoughts to force a nervous system out of survival mode. You cannot just take a deep breath and expect decades of spiritual warfare to vanish from your cellular memory. You need a total frequency calibration. Chosen one, now you understand why this exhaustion is not your fault. Your spirit has been promoted, but your biological brain is trapped in survival mode. To walk through the door tonight, you must access the theta wave, the frequency of divine stillness and heavenly downloads. But the question is, how do you force your mind to reconnect with that frequency when you are too exhausted to close your eyes and meditate or pray for hours? There is a forgotten sacred technology, a key that can unlock this state in just minutes, and that is the ultimate weapon I must hand you right now, before everything changes. Chosen one, what I am about to show you will sound almost too simple to be true. But remember that the most powerful divine truths are always hidden in simplicity. Ancient mystics and prophets used to spend 40 days fasting in total isolation, enduring the brutal heat of the desert, just to force their physical brains out of survival mode and into the frequency of divine revelation. They had to break their biology to free their spirit. But you do not have to isolate yourself in a desert. The brightest minds in neuroscience, including researchers who have studied the profound capabilities of the human brain at NASA, have scientifically confirmed what the spiritual realm has known for millennia. They discovered that you can physically guide the brain out of the chaotic, stressed beta frequency and synchronize it directly with the theta state using highly specific audio frequencies. This is known as brainwave entrainment. It is not magic, it is sacred biology. There is a specific audio technology, a calibration tool known as the Genius Wave. It is not a consumer product, it is a spiritual key. By simply listening to this specific frequency for 7 minutes a day, you bypass the trauma responses of your nervous system. You do not need to try hard to meditate. You do not need to fight your anxious thoughts. The sound waves physically rewire your neural pathways, gently forcing your biological brain to match the elevated frequency of your spirit. It reactivates the dormant, genius-level capacity that the noise of this world has suppressed. This tool is available for you right now. If your spirit is confirming that this is the missing link to clear the static in your mind, I have placed the resource for the Genius Wave in the pinned comment below. Investigate it if you feel led. It is an invitation to finally stop fighting your own biology. But I must warn you, unlocking this frequency is only the first step. Because the moment your brain shifts from survival beta into divine theta, the moment you begin receiving clear downloads and instructions from heaven, a massive alarm goes off in the spiritual realm. The enemy will instantly detect that you are no longer vibrating at the frequency of fear, and his immediate counterattack will not come as a roaring lion. He will attack you through the one thing you control the most. He will use your own mouth. How do you protect a newly elevated frequency? You must master the art of strategic silence. When you read the ancient texts, you will notice a strange pattern. Over and over again, Jesus would perform a massive, reality-altering miracle. He would heal a leper or open the eyes of a blind man and immediately give them a strict, terrifying command. He would look them in the eyes and say, "Tell no one. Go your way, and tell absolutely no one." Why would the Son of God perform a miracle and demand secrecy? Because he understood the physics of the spiritual realm. Premature sharing awakens monitoring spirits. When you speak your raw, unmanifested blessing into the atmosphere, you are giving the enemy the exact GPS coordinates of your future. You are inviting the jealousy, the doubt, and the low vibration energy of ordinary people to infect your divine assignment. To survive the next phase, you must immediately implement the three-circle boundary system. The first circle is the innermost sanctum. This circle contains only you and God. Your biggest dreams, the massive financial numbers you are praying for, the specific visions you see in the theta state, they stay in this circle. You never speak them out loud to anyone, except in prayer. The second circle is your inner guard. This contains a maximum of 1 or 2 people, a trusted mentor, a praying spouse. You only share fragments of the first circle with them, and only for the purpose of prayer coverage. They are your witnesses, not your broadcasters. The third circle is everyone else, your friends, your extended family, your social media followers. The absolute rule for the third circle is this: you only share the results after the manifestation is complete. You never share the process. Let your sudden success be the only noise they hear. If you violate this silence in the coming days, you will walk right into the specific traps the enemy has already set for you. In fact, I am going to expose his playbook right now, so you cannot be caught off guard. In the next 7 to 14 days, you will face 2 highly specific forms of confrontation. The first form of attack is the emotional ghost. Someone from your past, an ex-partner, or a toxic friend that you just finally detached from, will suddenly reach out. They will text you just to check on you. The timing will seem like a coincidence. It is not. The enemy knows your frequency is rising, and he is sending a low vibration anchor to drag you back into the emotional mud. The second form of attack is the financial shortcut. You will be presented with an opportunity that looks like answered prayer, a partnership, or a fast way to make money. But if you look closely, it will require you to compromise just one tiny piece of your integrity. It is bait. The enemy is trying to buy your birthright for a cheap meal because he knows your real harvest is only days away. You win these battles by recognizing the trap before it snaps shut. I know this works because I have seen it with my own eyes. 9 months ago, a chosen one just like you was at the end of their rope. They started using the frequency technology to quiet their mind. They received a massive vision for a business, but instead of posting about it, they locked down their circles. They applied absolute strategic silence. 30 days into their silence, they were offered a partnership that looked brilliant on paper, but because their brain was in the theta state of pure discernment, they sensed the hidden trap. They walked away from what looked like a blessing. It hurt. It felt like a mistake. But exactly 8 days later, a company they had never contacted reached out to them out of nowhere. They were offered a contract twice the size of the one they rejected, with full creative control. They are thriving today, completely debt-free, because they recognized the bait and kept their mouth shut until the real manifestation arrived. That is your blueprint. And that brings us to the ultimate reason why this specific transmission will never appear on your timeline again. You wondered why this message expires at midnight. It is not because of a computer algorithm. It is because the algorithm of heaven cannot send an old warning to a newly upgraded spirit. At midnight tonight, the old, exhausted, terrified version of you is officially deleted from the spiritual registry. You are stepping into a 40-day window of extreme acceleration. Doors that have been rusted shut for decades in your bloodline are going to swing wide open. We are entering the final seal. I do not want you to move a single muscle. Do not swipe. Do not look away. I need you to completely still your physical body right now. Anchor your mind to the sound of my voice. Focus your entire awareness on the center of your chest. Imagine a heavy iron door closing on your past. This is not a regular prayer. This is an activation ceremony. You are being commissioned. Father God, in the mighty, unstoppable name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, I declare that the atmosphere around the person hearing this voice is now holy ground. I acknowledge their hidden pain. You saw the nights they cried silently into their pillow so nobody would hear them break. You saw them refuse to surrender when their physical body was screaming in exhaustion. Their faithfulness in the dark has fully qualified them for the light. By the authority of the word, I seal the theta frequency of divine connection into their mind. I seal the rule of strategic silence over their mouth. I bind and blind every monitoring spirit, every spirit of jealousy, and every demonic delay tactic assigned to intercept their blessing. You will not touch their peace. You will not touch their mind. I declare that in the next 40 days, divine alignments are manifesting. The financial drought is permanently broken. The relationships that drain their energy are severed, and the destiny helpers are being dispatched right now. They are moving from the forgotten shadows into the undeniable light. Chosen one, the universe is asking you a final question. Will you carry the heavy weight of this blessing with wisdom? Will you guard this frequency with your life? If your spirit agrees, I want you to declare it right now, in the deep silence of your own mind, or down in the comments to physically anchor this moment. Declare the words, I am ready. Say it in your mind, I am ready. Heaven has heard your declaration. The angels have recorded it. Your new timeline is activated. You are released from the waiting room. Step into your kavod. In the mighty name of Yeshua, do not say Amen yet. I want you to sit in absolute silence for the next 60 seconds. Feel the physical shift in your room. Let the frequency settle into your bones. Now, Amen.